Hey everybody, welcome back to Video. So today we're continuing the series, the Unported Playlist, where I take a look at some of my favorite unported arcade games of all time, and today we're playing Wacky Races, released in 2008, developed by GameWax, a developer mostly known for their light gun game output for Taito. And if you can't tell already, this is an arcade racing game that basically marries the concepts of OutRun and Mario Kart together to give you an absolutely awesome time. This is exactly what the title promises. It is wacky and it is racing. Before you get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined to want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. But the first thing I love about Wacky Races is it does exactly what it promises on the box. It is wacky and it is racing. This is basically Mario Kart, except it has the OutRun formula where every single race is point A to point B. You're not doing laps, you start in one place and you finish in another, and that's one of my favorite things in arcade racing games, being able to just run the entire course and not have to do 3 laps. Now, don't get me wrong, laps are totally fine, but I do like this format slightly better, and if you didn't notice there, I had a bomb attached to me that I stuck onto another opponent. The second thing I love about this game is, of course, it has that Mario Kart flair. But basically, as opposed to actually picking up power-ups, you pick up coins, and then you can pull a slot machine lever on the cabinet, which will then start these 3 reels above. Depending on what you get, it could be good, it could be bad. You'll see here I got a speed up, so I'm able to use that to basically turbo ahead of my opponents. But if you get something like a bomb, you're going to have so many seconds to touch an opponent, or else it's going to blow up and affect you. This game is just pure chaos from start to finish. You never know what's going to come next, you never know what power-up you're going to get, you never know if you're going to be running down the track with robot bear claws on your car. That's the fun of Wacky Racers. It's just always going to show you something new, unique, and different, and you're never going to be quite sure what's happening next. You'll see here, at least for the first race, I was able to take 3rd place. Now, there are some slight flaws in this game. The only thing I don't like about it is it uses a money and coin mechanic. You can't enter other races until you collect enough coins within the course you're in, which isn't the hardest thing in the world, but honestly, it does lock out some things behind playing the game. In our case, this will cost you money, but the way we're playing it here definitely doesn't matter too much. But it's one of those things you can definitely tell this is designed to make sure they got enough quarters off of the audience before they showed you anything new. But on the upside, the courses are absolutely well designed. The developers at GameWax did a great job of giving them some great flow, and as you get into later courses, you're going to be hitting some absolutely massive jumps. Almost feels like San Francisco Rush in nature without the shortcuts. Now, your mileage may vary on the Hanna-Barbera connection. I sort of remember these cartoons from back in the day, but they were old when I was a kid, so this is definitely something where the license really isn't bringing that much to the game compared to any other cartoon that maybe their target audience was going for. It doesn't really make a ton of sense that they went with Hanna-Barbera, but maybe that was the license that was available, or maybe they were just hired to make the game, because it is, like I said, a known property, but definitely something that at least my age group, and probably yours as well, doesn't as fondly remember. Now, you stick something like Looney Tunes in this game, I'm going to give it a little higher mark just because I love the characters that much more. But again, you know I love arcade racing games if you watch the channel, and this is one that you absolutely should be playing. It is just so much fun. There's so many obstacles on screen, so many different power-ups, and a decent amount of courses and characters to select as well. And now we have basically what looks like a hopping bunny attached to a hover car that has a prop on the back. The amount of imagination and style in this game is off the charts, and that is how it should be. If you're going to call a game Wacky Races, you definitely have to make sure that the wacky component is here. And as we take these massive jumps, again, the spectacle on offer here is some of the best I've ever seen in an arcade racing game of its generation, because honestly, this was in 2008. There wasn't a ton of arcade racing games being released. It was kind of a lull in the arcade gaming release scene, in my opinion, so getting something like this was definitely a breath of fresh air. And I have seen this cabinet once in the US, but I just basically play this either on my Type X2 that I have under my desk when I record these videos, or on Teknoparrot if you want to play it that way. But it's also got a super fun soundtrack. Go ahead and listen for 45 seconds. I'll come back and show you a lot more of the fun courses.
Riders in the following order. First, the converter car. Second, the bulletproof bomb. Third, the turbo terrific. Watch out for the time extended. The bus wagon has been taken out by a missile. Watch out for the bomb.
The music just always totally fits the race course that you're on, and I love the announcer as well, giving you that little bit of inspiration and telling you what's going on in the game. Now, I'm not here to say that Wacky Racers is the best game of all time that you've never played. It is a solid B+, A- tier effort, but it is just fun to actually play the game. You've got a smile on your face the entire time you do it. You're always wondering what to see next, and you're always wondering how to get that first place finish, because even on easy, this game is exceptionally hard. If you play this on normal mode, you basically have to race perfectly or else you're going to run out of time in the courses, which is slightly disappointing because based on all of the power-ups and power-downs you get in the sheer chaos, sometimes you can't finish a course not because your driving line wasn't clean, but because something unlucky happened to you. Imagine in Mario Kart if you could run out of time because you got blue shelled a few too many times. That is my one strike against the game, but honestly any game that gives you a power-up where you have a gun turret coming out of the front is definitely going to be something I enjoy. But that's what I said, basically. The balance on this game can every once in a while be slightly off balance. You will end up running out of time, and it won't be due to any fault of your own. You'll be kind of bummed out. You'll end up just basically getting hit by another enemy's attacks, and you will run out of time right before the checkpoint, and you know that if you just could drive forward, you wouldn't have any issue actually finishing the race. So in some ways, I feel like they'd either been more lenient on the timer or removed it entirely. Maybe this game could have done a little bit better in arcades, but again, a minor complaint to what's otherwise a very fun game. And I love that each and every single course has a completely different theme, completely different things going on. Every single racetrack has its own vibe, and you're going to find one that you absolutely love. I love these spears coming out here that you need to navigate around, and you'll see there's boost pads all over the world as well. Utilize each and every one of them. Make sure you turn into them, because if you don't boost enough, you're never going to see the final checkpoint. It's very common to run out of time right at the end of the race, and you'll basically see a map showing that you completed 95% of it, but you missed out on that last 5%. So again, I'd probably just pop into the test menu and change the difficulty to easy, because even on easy, you're going to get a good challenge, but at least then you'll have a really good shot at actually completing the races. The other thing about this game that just works is the handling and driving mechanics. You've got drifting, your karts all control well. If you make a mistake in your racing line, it's because you did it, not because the game fought you. The only thing I wish you had a little more control of is when you were in the air off a jump, if you could slightly realign your vehicles when you hit the ground, you weren't going straight into the wall. When you hit a jump, make sure you're basically pointed straight, or you're going to careen into something that is going to slow you down. And there's so many different courses in this game. They get progressively harder and more interesting with bigger and better jumps, and I think that's why I really just love this game. It reminds me of games like San Francisco Rush, Cruisin' USA, or something like California Speed. Not so much in the shortcuts, as I mentioned before, but in the sheer over-the-top arcade racing spectacle of just having a rocket ship go down a highway and jump off the ramps. This is the type of stuff that just makes me happy. An arcade racing game that's not trying to be in any way, shape, or form close to the real world and just giving you the insanity of a kart racer at the same time. But one more taste of the soundtrack, because this track I particularly like. I'll come back and tell you more about Wacky Races and why you should play it. But enjoy.
The creepy goop has been taken up by a missile. Time extended. At the latest checkpoint, we have the drivers in the following order. First, the converter car. Second, the mean machine. Third, the bulletproof bomb.
The game just has awesome music, and I particularly love the sound effects, especially when you spin for a power-up. It's basically that cartoon noise where somebody is running in place trying to gain speed before they run away from danger, just kind of that foot pedaling sound. There's just so much charm in this game, and I'm not going to tell you where they got the graphics from this level from, but another GameWax game in the horror department used a lot of the same graphics as Wacky Racers does. So honestly, there is a little bit of a horror game in here. You just don't know it yet, and if you do know what game this is from, leave me a comment down below. I'm assuming 99 out of 100 people will not be able to name it, but GameWax definitely loved reusing assets here and there to make sure the development costs stayed down. But definitely give this game a shot. It's just a ton of fun. You sit down, you play it, you get some good races in, and you move on with your day. This is definitely that B+ tier effort game. It's super fun. There's a few things I would change, but otherwise every time I play it I have a ton of fun, and I think you will too. But short of that, we are done. If you have any questions or comments, so leave them down below, but go play Wacky Racers. Bye bye.